How many years of transformation should be acceptable in bridging the gap between white and black people? Are transformation projects like the Triple BEE and affirmative action unfairly disadvantaging white people? Do white South Africans have a future in South Africa? And why do some white South Africans feel unsafe, threatened, and targeted in their own country? What time is it? It's question time. Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Mpotsedu. The subject of race is always a thorny issue to raise in South Africa. Very often comments about race are labeled racist. Meanwhile, the race debate rages on amongst black and white South Africans. Some whites have raised concerns about their plight in this new South Africa. Are their concerns well placed? Or are they failing to accept the new dispensation? My guest today, Mr. Koen Vermaak, is the leader of the Boerestad Party, and Datinarius Moloto is the General Secretary of the Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania, the PAC. Mr. Vermaak, welcome to the show. Are you representing a view that says South Africa is not safe or is not a home for white people?
Paul, thank you very much. I won't say I'm representing that, but what I can say is that I brought you a photograph of my brother that was shot down in cold blood in his home. Mm-hmm. And on our website, we try and put the names down of all the white people that's been killed in South Africa. And we're way over 6,000 names. And we think that every white household in South Africa has been targeted some sort or other for murder, rape, and housebreaking.
And you think these crimes are only committed against white people?
Well, I'm not going to say that, but I'm going to say that you don't find white people running around in the night and breaking into black people's homes.
Do you have proof of what you're saying?
Yeah, of course.
So white people are not thieves?
No, not on the scale that what is happening here. We're talking about 6,000 people that's been murdered since 1994 in their beds or in their homes.
Yes.
So that's the opposite is not true. I'm not saying that the black people is also not murdered, but they're not murdered by white people on that scale.
Okay. Do you feel at home in South Africa?
Of course, my country.
Okay. Do you have an option?
I've got no option.
Okay. So you would stay in South Africa no matter what?
Yes. I would very much like to start the conversation going. Mm-hmm. Normally, the black people will say that Dr. Verwoerd is the creator of apartheid.
Yes.
But that is not the whole story.
Okay.
Dr. Verwoerd is the creator of a system where 8 million white babies was not born. Or I like to call that the system killed 8 million white babies. Mm. Now, that is in short, if I can explain to you what he did. He created the Republic of South Africa. And then he created 4 homelands. The Ciskei, the Venda, Botswana, and Transkei.
Yes.
And then he wanted to have the black people to have 20% of South Africa, and the rest of the South Africa was so-called white South Africa was 80% of the country. But he spent a massive amount of money to buy these farms and also set up governments and language institutions and the like.
Okay.
And I don't think that it's possible to calculate the cost of it. But what he did, he ran out of workers. And he tried to recruit them in England and the whole of Europe, but that was only a drop in the ocean.
Okay.
The rest what he did was that he sterilized or he distributed the pill to white women, and during that period we lost 8 million white babies until 2000.
Okay. Now, Mr. Farmak, a very quick one before I go to Mr. Mulot. Do you believe that you're living in 2015?
Obviously.
No, I'm not talking about physiologically. I'm talking in terms of the idealism and ideologies that you espouse. These are relevant for 2015.
What I can say is that because of the loss of 8 million white people,
yes,
the whole system in South Africa changed to such an extent that we've got 35% unemployment on the moment.
Okay.
And we haven't got employers,
okay,
we haven't got managers, and we've got a society that's going to fall in the end because of this.
Mr. Mulot, you are a political party that is also represented in Parliament.
Yes.
You're sitting next to Mr. Farmak here.
Yes. We are not just a political party, we are also a liberation movement.
Yes.
We went out to fight for the liberation of this country.
Yes.
Now, what Mr. Farmak is saying, by going and pick up a couple of incidents of crime, we don't condone crime. It happens to everybody. Basically, in actual fact, if he would be telling the truth, should bring the statistics also of the general African people or black people using his own terminology, because I think he's trying to say black and white. In peace, we see people as African people. We relate people to the land, not to the skin color. But having said that, he is highly subjective. He's trapped within a very narrow definition or his own people. So he sees South Africa's black and white situation. We have more deaths that has been occurring over decades to the African people or black people, if you like. Mm-hmm. And you cannot go and form a political party purely based on a number of people that are being killed, and also not even getting deeper into what are the causes of this particular. I think we think that Mr. Farmak, in his thinking from where he comes, is simply polluting a political space in South Africa.
But doesn't he have a right to form a political organization that represents his ideals?
Not purely based on race. If you form political party based on race, that's dangerous, because you are simply seeking to occupy a space. Given our history, given where we come from, given the so many people lost in the process of struggle for liberation, that become dangerous. Because look, there are issues. It is not just a political party. It's not just about black and white. It's about the issues that the liberation struggle was all about. Mm. And if we can begin to count the casualties of the struggle, I think there are tens of thousands of people who died.
Okay.
There are tens of thousands of people who have been incarcerated throughout. Okay. Now, if you bring the narrow view where Mr. Farmak comes and try to balance it, there's no balance. Basically, some will feel to be highly insulted by this.
Okay, hold the thought there. I'm going to give Mr. Farmak an opportunity to respond only after the break. This question time. Please don't go away. We'll return shortly.
You can't have a gut feeling about other people's gut feeling.
Ngaba has continued the tradition of passing stories onto the next generation using a platform that offers stories to a far more greater audience.
Zombie no go unless you tell them to go.
This is what the audiences all over the world knew Fela Kuti for.
Join Musam Khalipi on Afro Showbiz every Saturday at 19:30 CAT.
Welcome back. You're still watching Question Time. Our guest today, Mr. Koen Vermaak, leader of the Boerestaat Party, and Ntate Arias Molot is the General Secretary of the Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania. Welcome back. Now, Mr. Vermaak, do you feel that the Boerestaat Party is racist?
Can I ask you a question?
No, not on Question Time.
not.
On Question Time,
You
I'm
see,
the one who asks questions.
There's no word opposite of a racist. My formulation of that is that as we sit here, I know that people doesn't want to accept that fact, especially the DA and the left-wing parties. They don't accept the fact that you're black and I'm white. But this is a fact.
Yeah.
It's nature's law that there are different races on earth.
Yes.
Now, the opposite of a racist
Yes.
is a race hater. They hate the fact that races exist. I love the fact that races exist. I like, and I claim it, that the Bushmen, for instance, today is a race that's going to disappear here because we're only concentrating on individuals. You've asked the question of information. The Department of Statistics doesn't allow me to know how many white babies have been born, how many Afrikaans babies have been born,
Why
how
are
many
you
have been
worried
aborted.
about that?
I can't. I've got to run a nation, and I've got to do population development.
What do you mean you have to run a nation? Are you some type of a king?
I belong. Yeah, that's another thing. They say I can't be a traditional leader.
Yes.
Why can't I be a traditional leader?
Why can't Mr. Vermaak be a traditional leader, Mr. Molot?
Why can't I have more than one wife?
Who prevent him from having more
The
than
law
one
of the
wife?
country.
I don't know. We don't know that law. But in any event, look, Mr. Vermaak is not making a political case to pursue a political party. What he is attempting to do is he's using statistics on crime, and very selectively. That suits him to come into a political space. Now, if you have to define yourself as a political party, you should tell us what kind of state you are going to. Now, the name of that party is clear. It's the Boerestaat. Now, you should begin to tell us what kind of state you want to create and where. And for what reason. I mean, it's not what is advancing.
He says he can answer that question.
No, but before he even attempt to answer that particular question, he seems to be, while pushing a narrow and subjective few interests based on a color, he also seems to be longing for the what you call the cultural life of African people, and he refused to adapt into that the African norms and values. But then at the same time, he's trying to make a case. Where is what he is advocating for Boerestaat? Where?
We've got a system. Look, I've carried on with the Boerestaat Party that Mr. Van Tonder started in the old South Africa. The thing is that we don't agree to one man, one vote, because one man, one vote is discrimination. Mr. Mandela, when he was in jail, said that the system that we had at that stage was totally wrong because a black doctor could not vote, but a white vagrant could vote. And we totally agreed with him. But now, a vagrant and a doctor, doesn't matter what their color are, their vote is counted the same value. The people in jail can vote. We keep them with our money in jail. We feed them every day. They murder us, they kill us, they rob us, and then we still feed them, and then we still give them the right to vote. That should not happen. People should be voting. I'm not saying that everybody should not have the vote. Everybody should have the vote. But some people's vote must be counted more than others.
Why?
Because they add more to the economy.
In what way? Who should vote? Whose vote should be counted twice?
Well, let's put it this way. A guy, a vagrant there at the robot, who ask for money the whole day, and a medical doctor or an engineer, do you think they've got the same value?
What are you saying, Mr. Vermaak?
This man is a follower of a man who went into a taxi rank, opened fire on the people, which he believes they don't have a right to exist and having benefits.
No,
now, all of a sudden, I mean, he comes here and tries to argue differently.
I'm not saying that.
As I said, he's simply polluting our political space. Those things are not supposed to be really argued without shame.
Mr. Vermaak.
The whole country is in a position on the moment where all the services is down the drain. The electrical services, the sewage services, the roads, the water services, all the municipalities are bankrupt. And the reason why is that we've put people in places where they're not qualified to be. And the reason of that is that there's not a qualified franchise system in South Africa. A one-man, one-vote system discriminates against people.
But Mr. Vermaak, you say here that the party does not aim to become the government of the day. This is your party.
That's correct.
Because it will never get the support of all South Africans. Instead, the party aims to increase the numbers of the Boer nation, which would eventually lead to independent freedom. How?
Well, you know, we said that de Klerk in 1994 could have a much better system instead of one man, one vote. Power sharing is the answer. But to keep people from power sharing is discrimination. Okay. So we say that the system of South Africa should change.
Okay.
Because one man, one vote will take us over the edge.
How many people are following the Boerestad party?
Well, we're not a big party. Okay. I'm not going to say to you how many people there are, but I think we've got a big following in the sense that people agree with our viewpoints.
Okay.
And they feel that they are not part of South Africa. So you see, it's difficult. On the one hand, you're part of South Africa, but on the other hand, you're not, because you're only seen as a person, an individual. We are a lot of nations in South Africa.
Okay.
And the nations are not catered for.
Okay. What I'm going to do, I want us to take a quick break. When we return, I want to give the PAC a chance to talk to the ideals that you have espoused. As a liberation movement, like he has said, and a political party, you also are registered with the IEC yourselves. Let us get perhaps a common ground, if indeed you could live here feeling that you are indeed a South African. This is question time. Please don't go away.
A gloomy Christmas for many South Africans whose jobs are on a knife's edge.
But the concern this time around is that there's certainly a spike and all sectors of the economy face risk.
Solidarity is involved in 45 different retrenchment exercises, and it cuts across all sectors.
While most retrenchments are expected in the mining and manufacturing sectors, analysts say the public sector will not escape.
So people are now sitting on their hands because the future is very uncertain.
Primetime News, daily at 6 p.m. on SABC News.
Welcome back. You're still watching Question Time. My guest, Mr. Koen Vermaak, leader of the Boerestad Party. and Tatenares Moloto, the General Secretary of the Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania. Now, Dr. Moloto, you have an organization like the Burestad Party, whereas you are contesting for space. I mean, you are an Africanist organization which represent all Africans, which means you are operating in the same space. You have South Africans who hold views such as this.
Yeah, look, it is unfortunate that you have people who hold this kind of views. And given the historical context of our struggle and where we are, we feel that these views are really dangerous. Look, we fought for the reason why Mr. Vermaak is here. He comes and argues for status quo within the context of apartheid, within the context of the dispossession, within the context where the African people were dispossessed, were continuously being suppressed, economically exploited by a group of people. Now, when you are seeking to the PAC, for instance, we are not completely happy with what we got, because we got political freedom in a sense that we are able to go and elect. But the economic freedom, the power of the economy, the wealth of this country still belong relatively to the same people, including Vermaak. And the reason why it's going up and down is to sustain, is to ensure that the African people, the transformation does not progress sufficiently for the African people to begin to enjoy these things. So he's trying to basically to act proactively to prevent that.
But then how does he feel safe when, I mean, the PAC, you probably would want to take the little that he's got, even if it's the land that he occupies or some of the people that he represents?
Look, we didn't hide that. As a PAC, we made it very clear, and we'll do so. That's what defines PAC. We need the redistribution of the wealth of this country because it's God-given to the African people. That one we are not apologetic to anyone.
So he must.
That's what we no, including himself. You have to remain and develop this country because he benefited from this country. I mean, all the people that benefited from this country, only for few people. Now that the country is open, we are now focusing on building the economy, the wealth to the people.
Does he have a future?
Yes, definitely, but that is his choice. He has choice. If he chooses to remain, he remain and work for the development of the country and its people. That's what the nation is all about. You cannot work for the development of a group of people in a country. That's wrong.
Okay. Mr. Vermaak, do you feel that you have a future?
Not with this man. That's very stupid to say things like that. Look, we see that white people are moving into areas like Featherbrook and Ernie Els golf estates, and they put big walls around them and security systems, and they've got during the night guards to look after them. Why do they do that? Do they feel safe?
No, but that's all people are doing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But exactly, they don't feel safe. And you think I'm going to feel safe if I open my doors, open my gates in the New South Africa? The New South Africa is a very, very dangerous place to live in.
Where do you want to live?
Oh, in South Africa.
Which South Africa? The old one?
No, not at all.
Okay.
No, the old one took us to the situation that we've got today. That is the problem. And we've got to have a system in South Africa where that can be looked at. We can't have unemployment of 35% and think that is going well in South Africa.
Okay.
And, you know, the other thing is, the government of today is attacked to such an extent that they don't get time to govern.
Okay.
Especially the media.
Okay. Just give me your views here quickly. On BEE and affirmative action, what's your views?
Well, my view is that if we got to employ more people, then he needs to become an employer. We haven't got employers. Is that correct? So what does the BEE do? they are creating employers, because we've got 35, maybe we've got 5 or 8 million people without work. Who's going to give them work? You need employers. You've got a system to create employers so that they can employ people.
Affirmative action?
I've got no problem with that.
Okay, you're happy with...
That's the idea, is to get people to understand how the industry works, how the capitalistic system works.
All right.
And I myself train people from day to day in that regard.
Now, you are aware that you are very fortunate that Mr. Mloto did not win elections completely.
I can see that.
And you know why?
No, you're going to take my business away.
Are you happy with that?
No, I'm not happy with that. That's why you will never win an election. Because people won't vote for people that's going to break down the country.
But what makes you think that...
he explained to you what you're going to do.
Redistribution of the land equals
so
breaking down the country.
nobody will have anything.
Okay. Mr. Mloto, let me give you a final...
No, look, Mania from Mark doesn't... seems to be understanding issues properly. Anyway, look, you have a situation, and I will just briefly go through what he has. You have a situation in this country now where people goes to bed with empty stomach, nothing. And on the other side of town, probably where Mr. Vermaak and some of the grouping stays, throwing the leftover in the dustbin. That country, that situation cannot be normal. That's what we are saying. Now, to know how do you begin to normalize that situation? It is also their country. Now, how do you find a balance? Now, we need to change the system to ensure that that does not continue as a way of life. Now, you cannot therefore suggest that there are so many people that are going around trying to feed their children. I'm not justifying crime in any way whatsoever. It's that the privileges of few are not sustainable until we begin to look after the privileges of everybody. Now, going back, look, into PAC, we are not happy with the level of transformation because transformation could have gone faster and reduced the number of poverty, reduced the number of landlessness, and reduced the number of inequality. This is the society that we are currently living in.
Okay. We've run out of time, unfortunately.
Can I have the last word?
We'll talk about it off air. That was question time for today. A big thank you to my guests and to you for watching the show. Follow us on Twitter at QuestionTime24. Our email address questiontime@sabc.co.za. You can also follow me on Twitter at Mpho Sedu. And perhaps let's continue this discussion. Have yourself a wonderful time. Goodbye.